Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first ever episode of the Still Got It podcast. Inaugural episode. Always great when you have a podcast and you get the first episode in. That means if you're a first-time listener, you're the only listener. It means you're one of the best listeners that we have on the podcast. It's going to be an NFL podcast. We're going to talk all things National Football League throughout the season and the offseason. And right now, we're smack dab in the middle of the offseason. Currently, right now, as the NFL draft is in the books, free agency period has come and gone. Rookie minicamps are underway, and lots of news to get to. But before we get started, let's get our co-hosts in to introduce themselves. First, I have myself, Clay Patton. Welcome to the podcast.
What's going on? Appreciate you having me. Let's have a good time, man.
Yeah, your podcast too, man. But yeah, Vaughan Kane as well in the building for the podcast. Yes, sir. It's going to be lots and lots of conversation. Clay and Vaughan are both collegiate athletes in their own respects. Clay, a wide receiver, Vaughan Kane, a tight end as well. So lots of football knowledge in here. I didn't play any football myself, but, you know, I covered the sport. For you guys that don't know, I cover the Baltimore Ravens for CBS, Baltimore, and Sports Illustrated throughout the years. Now I have a podcast of my own. So lots of knowledge here. So just not people talking nonsense. We all know our stuff. So we're going to get into brass tacks right now. We're going to talk about the offseason as a whole, who has come and made a splash in the offseason. Lots of teams trying to get to where the Philadelphia Eagles are, and that is Super Bowl champions. So we'll start with you, Clay. Who's the most improved in the offseason so far? Who's made the most adjustments and has kind of set themselves up for success in 2025?
So for me, my pick was the Rams, essentially because we know they're only about a drive or two away from making an extensive run in the playoffs this past year. So in the draft, they don't really have any names that are going to jump off the board, but they definitely went for like depth on that front seven, definitely went with D tackle with a few picks, linebacker with a few picks. In the second round, they went tight end. I assume that's for like a security blanket for Matt Stafford. Look, I'm having a brain fart. But when it comes to free agency, I definitely think they've had one of the best free agencies, period. They start off with Nate Landman from the Falcons, a linebacker. In 13 appearances last year, he recorded 88 tackles and 3 forced fumbles. Definitely a solid addition, you know, to read that defense for everybody. Then in the middle, they went with Poona Ford. Definitely a solid piece on the D line. It's really hard to fill the shoes of Aaron Donald. That's pretty much impossible. But with him, with some of those draft picks that they had, they're definitely making, you know, a good stride there. And then, of course, they went and got Devontae Adams. Once you lose Cooper Kupp, that's definitely, you know, a hard loss to fill. But Devontae Adams has definitely had more availability. Same type of receiver, you know, route runner, get open. Definitely a security blanket. I think he'll mesh really good with Matt Stafford. So like I said, I think they made great additions in order to build on what they did last year.
Yeah, I think Devontae Adams is probably, I mean, Antonio Brown is kind of the guy that sets the standard for me, but yeah, that boy can ball, Devontae Adams. So Matthew
Stafford, route anytime, give it to me.
Yeah, did you see Stafford's face when he saw the clips of what Devontae Adams did in his past life? Man,
and I think he's going to get what I think he expected to get with Aaron Rodgers those last 2 years in New York. I think Matt Stafford's kind of slept on in that regard. He definitely can do some of those flashy throws and stuff that people associate with younger A-Rod. So we might get a Tay Adams resurgence. Who knows? Let's see some crazy numbers out there.
Stafford's that boy.
Yeah, you don't want the Rams in the NFC at all in the playoffs. So I know a lot of teams out there are nervous about it, but yeah, I think the Rams are going to make some noise. Vaughan, what about you?
I went with the Giants. The Giants this offseason with the Giants. Overall, the Giants tried really hard this offseason. They tried to get, you mentioned Matt Stafford, didn't work out, but they tried to go get him. We all know Matty. We love Matty, especially me, the Lions boy. We love Matty. They tried to trade up to number 1 pick, didn't work, but they addressed the D-line. Abdul Carter got a nice edge rusher. Pair him with Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence. Kayvon, that front seven is going to be a beast. Everybody's going to hate it. The Eagles fans are going to hate it. They went out and got Javon Holland, you know, the great safety from Miami. 3 years, $45 million. He's worth every penny. They traded back to the draft to get Jackson Dart. I mean, yeah, here or there, we don't really love Jackson Dart right now, but that's a guy. They took like a star projection, like predictor score. He was the only one other tied with Lamar Jackson for 100%. Him and Lamar was the only people get 100%. And I know, Sam, you love Lamar right now.
Yes, sir.
But just overall, I mean, that's kind of Of course, you don't know in the future, but that's predictor test. If you just off that stat alone, it's high hopes for him. Of course, they signed Russell. They signed Jameis. So Jackson Dart he probably won't play this year unless something crazy happens. But they got a starter right there, a backup just in case something happened. Shoot, who else? They draft Scatterbo, the running back. We fell in love with him the last couple of years.
I love Scatterbo.
You know what I mean? Big mean, that's over. Big mean dude. Love him. Finally, they just got a corner though too. Paulson, the corner out of the Saints from last year, he had 10 career picks. Only thing is he came off a broken leg, so that's kind of iffy. We got to see about that one. But I think Giants, I get him like a B+, man, overall. Eagles fans better look out.
I love Jackson Dart. I thought that he had the highest ceiling coming out of the draft. I think, trying to get Cam Ward, I get it, but you could do a lot worse than Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart in your roster, that's for sure. So I think the Giants are definitely going to be doing some things. Kayvon Thibodeau can get the pass rusher thing going again. Hopefully. That's a crazy edge rushing tandem. And I know, Clay, your Cowboys are in that division, but that's some competition potentially in the next.
Man, we've got some roster construction we need to work on. We'll touch on that, man.
Yeah, of course. And man, for myself, got the Ravens in the background. Had to go with the Baltimore Ravens. Very close to going with the Atlanta Falcons because I thought that bringing in 2 edge rushers really in back-to-back picks was huge for them as they try and get that defense going and try and build upon that offense as well. But defense starts first for them. But the Ravens, I think their offseason was as good as it can be. I mean, they brought back Ronnie Stanley. They got rid of some dead weight in Brandon Stevens at the cornerback spot. They got Marcus Williams out of there. Eddie Jackson was already removed. So, and then they brought in Malachi Starks, and then they brought in Mike Green out of Marshall, a very controversial pick. But yeah, I think that the edge rush room got a bit of rejuvenation, some youth. I'm excited about what the Ravens can do. I think it still comes down to getting it done in the postseason. But as far as giving yourself the best shot to get over the hump and into the postseason, I think the Ravens did as good a job as any. But let's talk about people who didn't do quite as good. We talked about the Giants and the Ravens doing great things, but people who suffered in the offseason who didn't get any better, in their opinion, it got worse. Clay, who do you have there?
So we're going to go a couple miles down the road from Dallas. We're going to stop in Houston. Absolutely terrible. So with the names that they already lost, it's going to be extremely hard to replace one of the best blindside tackles in Laramie Tunsil. That's almost going to be impossible, especially in 1 year. Then you also lose Diggs. I know he's been on a production kind of slump the past couple of years, but with the injuries to Tank Dell and Nico Collins towards the end of the year, it's going to who's CJ going to throw the ball to while his blind side is going to be wide open, and he took too many hits last year as is. So regardless of who they drafted, it was an uphill battle regardless. Like I said, you got one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league losing his best lineman, one of his best pass catching targets, and then his other best pass catching target is coming off a he broke his leg and then came back and tore everything in that knee. And then Nico Collins was coming back hot and cold with injuries towards the end of last season. CJ came in on that high horse, but I think life and just, the NFL being what it is definitely coming to kind of bite him in the ass there. I don't think we're going to see him on too many more podcasts giving advice to other quarterbacks and stuff like that anytime soon. They're definitely going to have to lock in down there in Houston and figure some stuff out.
Yeah, hard to disagree with you. I think you got to protect your boy, C.J. Stroud. And I like Higgins out of Iowa State. I think he was a great addition. But other than that,
definitely a good sleeper pick.
Yeah. Other than that, not much going for the Texans. And good for me as a Ravens fan. The Texans were creeping up to being one of those top 3 teams in the AFC. But maybe they're a year away from getting it done. Vaughan, what about you?
We're going down to the sunny orange state of Florida, man. The Miami Dolphins, bro. I don't think they did anything. They actually lost everybody, or not everybody. Lost Javon Holland. Go to the Giants, of course. The whole Jalen Ramsey, Tyreek Hill talk, trade talks or whatnot. Are they staying or are they leaving? They have a retirement. Their tackle, Armstead, he's gone. How do you replace that? The only positive thing they did sign James Davis from the Steelers. Other than that, I guess they best O-line had a pass rating block of 70.2. This is the highest one. They drafted a guard, a tackle who has to play guard probably. Here's the highest rated, 82.7. But overall, they just didn't do anything, man. It's a lot of concerns about the offense. What they doing, Tyreek Hill? Tyreek doesn't want to be there. He hasn't said it outright yet, but he's ready to go. He's ready to win. You already heard the trade talks with
quarterback play, man.
You feel me? And with no line blocking, Tua's gonna be shit. Same thing happened. Tua's gonna be running for his life. He already wearing a padded helmet, so he gonna be running for his life this whole time. It's the same old, and they losing. You feel me? Jalen Ramsey, best player. They might lose him really soon, depending on some trade talks. But it has to easily the Dolphins for me.
I don't understand what the Dolphins are doing. They already said they're trading Ramsey. They didn't even say we're seeking a trade. They're saying we're going to trade Ramsey. So,
and what do they expect to get back in that scenario?
No, they can't get really because their contract's too big. They can't get much, honestly. Him and for Tyreek too. Just saying, what if he leaves or get traded? Both their contracts are huge, so they're not gonna get much from him. They can't. Nobody's gonna take all that money on.
Should have stayed in Kansas City. I mean, I'm glad he left, but should have stayed.
Got that bag and about 8 more kids. Should have stayed right there in the snow.
Oh man, but for me, I think it's the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, I think they had a chance to come into this offseason and really do some damage. I thought that the offense, obviously we know what the offense did. Joe Burrow was not a Hall of Famer, but he was a candidate to win MVP and not make the playoffs, which tells you how good that offense was. They brought back Jamar Chase, obviously, and they got T. Higgins back. But man, I mean, at what cost? You don't have any defensive, moves to make in this offseason whatsoever as far as, free agency is concerned. Trey Hendrickson's demanding a trade right now. It appears as though the contract talks aren't going very well. So you sabotage the defense to appease to your quarterback to get 2 receivers, and you had them last year. And not much came of it outside of putting up some points.
They should have cut the check sooner. They wait until the last moment, and now you don't got no money left.
That's Mike Brown for you. That ownership doesn't know what they're doing over there. But I mean, during the draft, they got Shamar Stewart, who's a project, at best, and I thought they were going to go a linebacker. The Eagles went ahead and got Jihad, who I think was probably the best possible chance for them to really fortify that defense. They got a lot of high ceiling guys, but they needed to win now with the window closing because of all those big contracts that they made with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I think it was just a bad decision to go and get T. Higgins. They should have traded him this offseason if we weren't going to sign him last year and get some picks and really build upon that defense. But the Bengals proved they can't draft.
Yes, sir. Is their first round draft pick even signed yet, or is he still holding out?
He's still holding out, probably.
I think he's holding out, honestly. So that's another little added bonus to that Trey Hendricks thing.
Dang.
Bengals gone Bengal.
I'm glad, as a Ravens fan, I'm glad it's happening, but man, it sucks if you're a Bengals fan. It looks like you're gonna be a little bit short again. All right, let's talk about the draft some more. We just talked about it with Shamar Stewart, a guy who didn't make it in the first round, fell mightily. A lot of people had him as a number 2 best quarterback in the draft, probably going to get picked in the first round. Didn't happen. Didn't get picked in day 1 or day 2. He falls to the 5th round to the Browns, who already drafted a quarterback already, who also brought in Joe Flacco. Very crowded quarterback room, very contentious situation among talking heads about what's the reason for the fall. I'll start with you, Clay, because I think you were pretty high on Shedeur Sanders coming into this draft. What do you think the reasons are for his fall, and do you think there's any hope of him salvaging a career in Cleveland?
I 100% think he's going to be successful in Cleveland, but to answer why did he fall, hating. I mean, that's the simplest way to put it. They wanted to humble him. I think he kind of comes into the room with an air of, I know who I am. I know what I've accomplished. I know what I'm capable of. And it kind of sounds corny to say, but the powers that be don't like that. NFL owners, GMs, coaches and stuff, they almost want you to grovel at the opportunity to play. But I've earned this opportunity based on my track record, everything that I've accomplished at all schools that I've been to. And then even beyond that, he doesn't have the calling card that, my family was broke. I'm trying to change my family's life. He can never play football again, and he's going to be good. I'm sure he'd be happy. I'm sure he wants to keep playing, but if football is over for him, he's good. So they don't have that to kind of dangle over him. So when you know those things and you have that type of aura, that type of confidence, it rubs people the wrong way. And I think they wanted to make him pay for that.
Yeah, hard to disagree with you. Vaughan, what are your thoughts? Do you echo his sentiments, or do you have another opinion?
No, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, it's just literally just him being confident going to the room. They knew who I mean, of course, I think he's going to be successful where he goes, wherever, if it's here, somewhere else, I think he's going to be successful. I think his dad might have to play a little role in that too. Saying earlier that
Talking
he
too
would,
much.
he would literally jump in and pretty much tell him he can't go to his team. He would say it. That has a big play. I mean, he can play. You saw the numbers. All the numbers show he can play better than some of the people who got drafted in front of him for sure. It has to be some off the field confident, too cocky type of things over that. But overall, I mean, I think everybody knows he's going to be successful wherever he ends up.
Yeah, I think he was the second best overall quarterback. We talk about Jackson Dart having probably the highest ceiling in the draft, but I think we know Shedeur can play. He's going to put the ball exactly where it needs to be. I think it was pretty much exactly like you mentioned. I think Deion Sanders had him as a kind of a DB mentality going to those interviews, and he really had the bodacious persona. And teams don't want that from their quarterback. They want suit and tie guy, CEO of the off the field, on the field stuff, and they didn't feel comfortable with him. Still, even with that, him sliding in the 5th round is crazy.
That's sick. Yeah, it's sick.
Collusion, kind of nuts. Yeah, so I get why people are a little upset about it, and Shedeur's going to have a good chance to prove a lot of people wrong. Unfortunately, he might prove it with the team that passed up on him. Probably the number one team that probably should have took him earlier. So he'll have a climb to make to get to that number one spot. But I think he has a talent to get there. Yeah, he's gonna be just fine.
He'll be fine.
Let's see. We talked about Shedeur Sanders being the guy in Cleveland right now. Probably should have been the second quarterback taken, but there are other players in the league that got drafted. Still early. It's only May, but there's a good chance that some of these guys, at least one or two of these guys drafted in the first few rounds, are going to be stars. So let's talk about who's going to be the star. Offensive Rookie of the Year last year, easy decision. Jaden Daniels being the QB that he was in Washington, he became the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Let's start there. Start with you, Clay. Who do you think Offensive Rookie of the Year could be this year?
It could be a toss-up, but I'm going to go with Cam Ward. I think they're trying to build around him the nice way. I like how they let him advocate for Restrepo. Like I said, great receiver to come in there that he bringing with him from Miami. One of the best route runners in the draft. Like I said, he's going to have the confidence in him. They're already going to have a rapport. So if nothing else, they'll have a good connection. And then, like I said, I think Offensive Rookie of the Year is pretty much geared towards quarterbacks anyway. So, there's only a few names that I think would legitimately get the chance outside of like Genty, with him getting a good amount of carries and being able to catch it out the backfield and stuff like that. I think Cam Ward would be the safe pick for me.
Yeah. Number one overall pick, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Makes a lot of sense to me. Vaughan, what about you?
I went with Ashton. I went with Ashton Jenny. It's kind of, for me, it was simple. He's the back. He comes in. He's a starting back off the drip. He can catch, like Clay said, off the backfield. He can run. You have a veteran quarterback in Geno Smith there. You got a good tight end who can kind of help offset some little looks in the box. She got Pete Carroll as a head coach. You all see what he did with Marshawn. He's a run first dude. I want to say Chip Kelly is there too. And we all know what Chip Kelly likes to do. He likes to run the ball. And you saw that with you feel me? Yeah, you see it. It's spread out, run the ball in the middle. I think Genty has a perfect, it's a perfect fit for the Raiders. A legit perfect fit for him to, win this Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think Genty right now is the odds-on favorite to win the award right now. If you're going to most Vegas sports books, Boise State, he was a killer, and I think he's going to come into this league and do exactly the same thing. Fortunately, he's in the AFC, so I have to deal with him at least once every other year. But for the Ravens, not the Ravens, but for me, Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think is going to go to a guy the Ravens are going to face twice a year, and that's Travis Hunter. I think Travis Hunter is not twice a year. He's going to play him once. He could have went to the Browns and played him twice a year, but because of the trade, he went to Jacksonville, and I still think he's going to be a dog. I think that he's very fluid in his route running. I think he's going to be exceptional. How they use him remains to be seen. Based on the talk to the GM, they're going to really try and have him be that guy that goes on both sides of the football and create a superstar if he's able to be great on both sides of the ball. And based on the film, he looks like he could be that guy on both sides of the ball. But I think for right now, that offense, along with Trevor Lawrence, he can finally have another receiver to get him the football. And I think he has a decent chance to be that guy. We'll see what happens. I don't know what the Jags are doing over there. They seem to be I think like $1 short of whatever,
We'll
whatever they
see.
got going on over there. They're just
Yeah, we'll
weird,
see. We'll see.
weird as shit. But I think that the Jaguars, they got it right with Travis Hunter. We'll see what happens. But Vaughn, let's take it back to you. We'll talk with defensive rookie of the year. Who do you got?
Abdul Carter. I do. I mean, like we talked about earlier, that was one of my positives for the Giants this offseason. Got an added pass rusher, like that crowded D line. Like I said earlier, it's already star studded. Brian Barnes, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau is there. Hopefully that draws him out a little bit, takes a little pressure off of Abdul. He's a freak. He's a freak of nature. He's huge. He can move fast. Honestly, I think he has him not getting his number like twice in a row. I probably asked him for the numbers. It's like an extra. It's crazy. He tried twice, but anyway. But I feel like that is like an added like pressure for him to do great in this number. I think it's an easy pick. The Giants most likely will be fighting for behind a lot this year anyway, but a little opportunities to go rush the passer. So I think it's an easy pick.
Yeah, I like Abdul Carter a lot. I think that he's a dog. We'll get on that a little bit later. But Clay, who do you think defensive rookie of the year?
So I'm taking your offensive rookie of the year and putting him on defensive rookie of the year. So I'm going with Travis Hunter. And the reason why I say that, and like you said, all the tape that I've seen, all the reports and stuff, analysts and stuff, they definitely said he's fluid in his routes. He's out there running with no gloves. He wants to show how good his hands are and stuff like that. But I think it'll be easier to show his skill set on the defensive side of the ball, especially when it comes to making plays. The type of numbers that you have to put up to make a splash on defense won't be as high as he would have to put up on offense. So playing receiver, offensive rookie of the year, we're probably looking at 900, 1,000 yards type of season, low double digits, 8, 9, 10 touchdowns. That's kind of what the ballpark that we're looking at for offensive rookie of the year. Defensive rookie of the year, 3, 4 picks, how many deflections, and now he's defensive player of the year. And I think that's more attainable or realistic. Especially with him splitting time on each side of the ball. I'm much more afraid to throw the ball at Travis Hunter on defense than I am on the defensive side of the ball and you getting the ball in his hands on the NFL level. I just think that his impact will be easier felt on the defensive side sooner in his career.
So could you imagine? Yeah, Travis Hunter, offensive and defensive rookie of the year.
It could happen.
Nuts.
Only thing, the last
he's winning everything else.
Winning everything else. Last 6, 7 rookie defensive players have been defensive, like D tackles, outside linebackers. So the odds that's on my side, man. I think odds are on my side.
I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna go Abdul Carter for mine. Vaughan, you took him, so I'm gonna stick with the Ravens and go up Mike Green out of Marshall. Mike Green, I think he has. Other than Abdul Carter, I think he was my second favorite pass rusher. He has the bend, he has the athleticism, he has the moveset. I think he's going to be great. I think he's a three down linebacker. He's going to go in there, stop the run, and be a pass rusher, which I think is huge. The Ravens had 55 sacks last year, the second most in the league, and they did it with Kyle Van Noy, who's almost my age, and Odafe Owe, who's getting better but doesn't have that skill set, athleticism that Mike Green had coming out of Marshall. So I think that he's going to be a force. Do I honestly think he's going to get it done over Abdul Carter? I mean, the Giants got something special over there, so I would not be surprised if Abdul Carter gets it. Travis Hunter, another guy he just has all the talent in the world. So he's going to have a lot of guys going up against him. I think offensive rookie of the year is going to be easier to get than defensive rookie. There's a lot of good defenders coming out this class that's going to cause a lot of problems for opposing teams. But I'll be a homer. I'll take Mike Green. Up next, we're going to talk about Derek Carr. We talked about a lot of young guys. Let's talk about the old man who's going to be calling it quits. Derek Carr is retiring from the Saints. That boy, in my opinion, didn't do too much to earn, the credit. He got a lot of guys in the league, come and go, but he's giving me Jay Cutler vibes with what he was able to accomplish. He got paid and didn't do much.
Yeah, he got a good check. That's what I said.
Let's start with you.
I think he's going to easily just kind of fade off into the distance. I don't think we miss Derek. We don't miss David. Like you said, both brothers got their head beat in pretty good. They probably, I guarantee, they took the most sacks of any brother combo in NFL history. I'm pretty sure that's like an easily an easily attainable stat for them. But yeah, especially this last kind of portion of the career, got a lot of flack from teammates and stuff like that, especially with the Mike Thomas situation kind of blasting him and the Steelers. So it was definitely surprising, though. I don't think anybody expected it to just kind of come out the woodwork like that. Yeah. But do I care that much?
Yeah.
not really, man.
What about you, Vaughan? Any thoughts?
I mean, congrats. I mean, retirement is cool, bro. He had a decent career overall. You feel me? A decent quarterback, good starter quarterback overall. I mean, it leaves the Saints where they gotta pick something really quick. They gotta adapt really fast. They drafted a QB. You got Spencer Rattler there. Who else they got? Jake Hadner. So it's like they gotta make a decision real quick.
Hey,
yeah,
my guy.
Yeah,
Lewis Riddick is real high on my dog Shaw. I'm from Louisville, man. So shout out to the home team, to the Cardinals, man. So I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
Go ahead and ball out for us. Give me somebody else to root for besides Lamar, man.
Yeah. So overall, I feel like that room is open. That spot is open. So it's like, I mean, like Clay said, hopefully Tyler can do it, but we'll see. I mean, I know the Saints lost some money with like $30 million or something crazy like that from Derek Carr. So that just sucks. But overall, I mean, it's cool. Congrats, man. Congrats on a good career. I guess go ride to the sun, go coach, go back to
Alvin
Fresno.
Kamara for fantasy football.
Yeah, facts. Yeah. So it's like, go back and coach, Carr, bro. Call it a day.
$205 million he accumulated over his career. That's nuts. So I mean, bro, get your money.
Who's that agent?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Who that agent, bro? Who that agent?
I need to raise in my job. Give me an agent like that.
You feel me?
Yeah. All right. Well, an old man calls it quits, but a young man is looking at greener pastures potentially as George Pickens gets traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Pittsburgh Steelers have been having some issues with their former disgruntled receiver, and they finally pulled the switch and got that guy out of there. He heads to Dallas Cowboys. Clay, you're a huge Cowboys fan. The Cowboys, they finally got another receiver to go opposite CD Lamb. Do you think this is a good move for the Cowboys, or is this another bad move for Jerry Jones?
I think you can honestly look at it both ways. George Pickens is in the same exact predicament that he was wanting to get away from. He wants the ball, regardless of how that happens, whether that's another number one being on the other side or the quarterback and the offense just not being able to get him the ball. But then, like on the same end, I think as Cowboys, we have enough issues. So with the type of off the field and the type of like on field antics that he kind of just spazzes out every once in a while, and then a lot of reports of him, being late to the locker room, being late to games, late to the bus, things like that. I don't know how that is gonna like boil over with the team, and I'm a realistic Cowboys fan. I'm not going to tell you that next year is our year XYZ. We definitely got some ways to go. Like I said, with roster construction, we're going to have to pay some people here soon. So it's. I think he's going to get the targets that he wants because we still don't have a bell cow running back like we need. So Dak is going to be throwing the ball like he has been. But like I said, you can view it both ways. But again, and I'll say this on air, y'all have heard me say this multiple times. I don't think we'll be successful till Jerry goes on to see whoever he goes on to see. I was about to say go on with the Lord, but I don't know if that's where he's going. But
we don't know.
That's crazy. Vaughan, what are your thoughts about the trade?
I mean, I'm gonna say. Honestly, I don't want to be on the fence. I'm gonna say it's good. Okay, I'm gonna say the good route. I don't want to be the tweener. I think it's smart for the Steelers. They got rid of Clay, disgruntled wide receiver. They got rid of him. They for cheap, pretty much. They got 3rd round picks or something for him. This trade. They can use that for trade bait, whatever. They got rid of him. They got DK, so that kind of takes the place of that. It's good for them. Steelers wise, not Steelers. Cowboys wise, you get a receiver, like you say, go against for Lamb. Take some heat off of him. Pickens gonna get the ball. We know he can play, bro. I think the only issue is off the field things, but on the field, we know, mental. We know he can ball, bro. We saw what he did to Steelers with literally nobody. So you got a decent quarterback, Dak. You got CD on the outside, decent tight end. So it's just like overall, I think it's a smart move for both. I don't know how I think it's his. I think this is his contract year. I think so. He's pretty much playing for a contract.
Yeah,
I want to say
long term, and that's what I was speaking on. Like, you got so many people that you're gonna have to pay, and then Dak is still, getting his high price ticket. Is he gonna be a Tom Brady and take a little bit less so that we can build around him? I don't think so. So next year, now what are we doing?
And the Cowboys only pay couple people. They paid Dak. They should play Micah soon. So it's just like they only play.
I don't even see them doing that because, like I said, when Jerry
and that pocketbook, man, they should pay. Right. But overall, the Cowboys are Cowboys, bro. I hope I know Clay is a fan. We hate the Cowboys in Detroit. They cheated us a couple years, so I hope they don't do anything, honestly. But yeah, that's my little side piece.
I think the Cowboys if they had like a running back, that offense would be legit because taking pressure away from CeeDee Lamb is nuts. Just to giving him another option to work with and getting him open, maybe some single coverage sometimes. That's nuts. Now, the Ravens played the George Pickens Steelers twice a year, and I know he'll beat you up if you let him. So I think again, you mentioned mental stuff. If you can get that going, they got something going, but I still think they need a running game to really take this offense to the next level, take some pressure from Dak. But yeah, I we'll see. Maybe it's enough. Maybe the two receiver tandem is enough where they don't need a running back. The running game takes care of itself. Could be an interesting year in the NFC East. The Eagles being champions. Speaking of the Eagles being champions, we've got exactly one game confirmed for the kickoff season opener. It's going to be Cowboys-Eagles. Who could have guessed it? The Eagles winning the championship last year, beating the Kansas City Chiefs, ending the dynasty, so to speak. And the Cowboys, all of a sudden, find themselves in the first game of the season with the George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, healthy Dak Prescott, hopefully, and they're going to be rocking and rolling. What are your thoughts about this matchup? Do you like it being the first game of the season? I'll start with you, Vaughan, because we want to get Clay's comments last since he's a Cowboys fan. Do you think that this matchup is the one you want to see as the first game? Last year was Chiefs-Ravens, and that was a stellar game. Do you see the same thing happening with this one?
Yes, stellar games, high TV ratings everywhere. I think it's gonna be out the roof. As far as fans goes, I think honestly, of course, it's gonna be good for fans, but see a divisional game, the first game of the season, could kind of mess up later on. Like it's first game of the season, everybody's working out kinks and whatnot. Seeing that first game could be a little hair scratcher for me, honestly. Cowboys got a lot to prove. The Eagles, of course, champions. We already know about what they have. Cowboys got a lot to prove. I think Dak missed the last two games versus the Eagles recently, so he hasn't played them, honestly. Like you said, running game for Eagles got a lot to prove. Offensively, I know CD is CD, so you don't have much to say about him, but running back, can they cover? Can they take the ball away? Can they stop the run? I think the Eagles ran over, I think Saquon had over damn near over 200 yards every time they played, close to that. I'm not sure exact number, but he ran all through the Cowboys. So it's like they got a lot to prove. I feel like season over might not be a good way for them to prove it yet. Honestly, first game of the season, little kinks, but we'll see. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch. Fun to bet on.
I can't wait. Clay, what do you think? The Cowboys get first crack?
I loved it from the high energy standpoint. Like I said, rivalry game, fake rivalry game. It has been a rivalry as of late. And like Vaughan was alluding to, I think it's more to the Cowboys' detriment. Like I said, we've got more stuff that we need to work out as the season goes on and stuff. Eagles are going to come in high octane, and we spoke on the two receiver duo. Well, the Eagles got that and a running back and a running game. So we're going to be taking notes, trying to figure out how the rest of the season is going to fare. And then, like I said, I would imagine, just being realistic, that's going to be at least a 2 touchdown ball game. And then we're down in the division starting off. So it's gonna be rough from the Cowboys perspective, but from a purely football fan perspective, teams aside, I love it. Let's duke it out. Let's start the season off on a high note.
I think you're right about that. I can't stand the Eagles. I'm not gonna lie to you. Last season, they were too cocky, and I'm not as big a Jalen Hurts fan as a lot of people are. So I get a lot of flack from Eagles fans about it, but I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup. Rivalry game. Those two teams don't like each other. NFC East. You would kind of hope that it would be later on in the season if you're just a fan of both teams, just because you don't want to, put all your eggs in one basket. The first game of the season, as Vaughan mentioned, a lot of kinks to work through. You're not the same team you are on week 1 as you are on week 8. So, but as far as television goes, I'm going to look forward to watching it. And
For sure.
Hopefully the Cowboys eke it out, man.
It's gonna be a lot of unders that game.
Yeah.
We'll take a lot of unders, guys. A lot of unders.
All right. Well, our last portion of the show, we're going to be talking about Donald Trump. The Trump administration as making strides to cut funding for the TBI program, the traumatic brain injury. That it's something that the NFL has paid very close attention to over the years. Is CTE has started to become more and more, prevalent. People are starting to understand that it's actually a real thing. But the NFL has been quiet about it. And then I think, so far the NFL has taken the stance that we're going to cooperate with the administration. Clay, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts about Trump almost looking like they're getting ready to cut funding on a program that's really geared towards preventing any injuries in the NFL?
I mean, it perfectly aligns with everything else that his, administration is doing with cutting things that are vital to the health and understanding of what's going on. It aligns perfectly. And then, like I said, with the league, it would make sense that they would kind of fall in line with that, because you would think that with all the studies and stuff coming out about CTE, brain injuries and stuff, that's bad for business. Just like the CTE movie that came out, of a few years ago, that they weren't happy with that. They were trying to get that shut down. Unfortunately, it is a part of the game. Like I said, when you sign up to play the game, you know what comes with it. And, it's a gladiator sport. At the end of the day, you hate to deal with the repercussions of the gladiator sport that you dealt with. But as far as them cutting the funding, I'm not surprised by any stretch of the imagination. Whatever is for the best of people's health right now, you can expect the opposite. So no shock there.
Yeah, very true, very true. Vaughan, your thoughts?
Like they said, honestly, this shit is stupid, realistically. And it's not just
and
NFL.
Y'all are doctors.
Yeah, it's not just NFL.
I'm the only not doctor right here.
it's not only the NFL though. It's kids, it's youth football, high school football, college, all that is gone. And I can't imagine a 10-year-old running smacked into somebody's head, like getting a concussion at 10 years old. I know multiple people who have multiple concussions in their lives, and just knowing the effect of that in the future is kind of what we need to know as society. We need to know what's going on. We need to see what's going on, how to protect the players, I'm scared to have my son play. You feel me? Because this is not, I'm scared to have that's what I'm saying. My son, I would never make my son play football. So it's just like one of the things is like, I don't think the game is soft. I think we need this. I know he had to go to Congress to get it approved. Hopefully it doesn't get approved that far, but defunding that is kind of sick, honestly.
You guys play college football, play high school football? Any concussions during your time playing?
Oh yeah, I think I have 2 confirmed, but I know for a fact that I have more. So I'm asking you. You said you didn't play and stuff like that, but anybody that's played knows that there's those one type of hits where you just laid somebody out and your head is kind of fuzzy after the fact. You just know you cleaned somebody's clock. Your height just from the energy, but like you're fuzzy for the next couple of plays. I'll never forget the very last game I played in was against Morehouse at Morehouse. That exact situation. Quarterback breaks out for a scramble drill. I go to basically blindside the corner. Corner was wearing number 4. When I got up off the ground, I was laying on top of 26.
Jeez.
Don't know what happened. I heard the crowd go ooh though. I know I put his dick in the dirt, but I was losing for a couple of plays after that. I needed to get my bearings after that. Oh yeah, I've got two confirmed, but I would say I at least got 3 or 4 easily.
How about you, Vaughan?
None confirmed, luckily. But like Clay was saying, like at K-State where we played at, we were a dominant run team, and the tight ends, fullbacks, all these type of wham blocks, all these. And I know for a fact, even in practice games, my shit was ringing plenty of times. Stem up the fit, regardless. So like I said, I don't have any confirmed. I know I had a couple, probably like a little ringers for sure. Like we said, my brother, he had a couple. You feel me? He's fine.
Some crazy stuff.
We see some crazy. Yeah, we seen some shit. We seen some shit. It's all videos. We watching it, and people are laid out, legs wobbly, passed out. You feel me?
Sleep.
Yeah, and it's a part. Unfortunately, it's a part of the game for sure. But it's just like we shouldn't like defund that. It makes perfect sense why we should like people. It not only affects the player itself, but you're affecting family. affecting kids. And that player retired. You don't know how they are 60 years old. You feel me? They can be out of it, loopy.
If
you
they
never
can
know.
even make it that long, if the effects don't come and show sooner,
Exactly. So it's not just affecting the players, it's affecting the family, the fans. So you see, so it's a lot going on with that. So I don't think it's smart.
Yeah, I don't think it's smart either. I'm in the med field like you, Vaughan, so we know the type of injuries and ramifications, long-term effects of those hits. It's nuts. I hope, again, like you mentioned, it doesn't go, full court, when Congress stops it, hopefully. But the way things have been going, it's trending that way. So we'll see. And the NFL staying silent about it. Clay, you mentioned that it's probably, par for the course for them because they want to kind of shy away from that. But I think a good time for them to speak up would be now because it'll be a big voice to kind of shed light and stop anything from going on. But, not this administration doesn't seem like it. It seems like we're in.
Good luck,
and then the
boys.
majority of the owners are in tow with the administration. So it's like,
Good luck. Good luck, boys. That's all we can say is good luck. We'll see.
Well, that is going to do it for Still Got It. This is the first episode. Lots of great conversation, obviously. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do, please be sure to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We're going to start pushing more content to you guys and get you guys, abreast to our lifestyle, to the football landscape as the season approaches. Is coming very, very shortly. The schedule is coming out very soon. We'll be talking about that for sure. Make sure you guys tune in. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, be sure to comment about different topics you want us to discuss. Doesn't have to be National Football League, but as we mentioned with this Trump stuff, we can always veer off a little bit adjacent to football and talk other things, politics and what have you. But we're going to be talking about football for a very, very long time. Thank you guys so much for joining us. For Clay, Vaughan, and myself, Still Got a Podcast. See you next week.